The day after the diet session, all news media around the world were telling about the events happening in the diet session. First it was the fantasy people, then it was aliens who really got the most attention. Daily news, we are not alone. The news about aliens in the diet session has made the front page of every and each newspaper around the world. Radio stations, podcasts, independent media, and mainstream media began talking about the covenant. They invited scientists and astronomers to talk about these aliens. NASA workers wonder, have these aliens encountered the Voyagers yet in their reality? World governments would come together to see what they can do with these aliens. Space agencies like NASA and SpaceX came together to see if they could make a working FTL system, maybe like a warp drive, as well as hoping to push to colonize Luna and Mars. The highest level of government who were in the United Nations were in a meeting with the available data, the knowledge of the UNSC. In the United States, President Dirrell wanted to bring the Famert natives to DC at first, but after hearing about these aliens, he wants to bring the aliens to DC and as well bringing the representative to the UNSC. He was hoping that he could get some of their technology into their hands. Non-religious extremists believed that these EDS are actually angels of heaven and they are here to either observe us or here for Judgment Day. The far left view the UNSC and the Covenant as an imperialistic nation who just wants resources and such. The far right views the UNSC as some new world order created by the Illuminati. The most negative part was riots occurred all over the world. People were in hysteria on how the Covenant attacked humanity and to be cleansed out of existence. The technology that the UNSC and the Covenant have really caused the hysteria. The United States deployed the National Guard to calm the citizens. Organizations like Antifa uses this an excuse to cause violence and destruction within the United States. As for the public reaction to the aliens, well, here is a list on how they felt well according to various internet users. Sangheili, it would gain respect of honor-driven humans like the Japanese due to their similarities of having a samurai-based spirit. Giralhani, would be weary about their unsettling presence due to their savage and barbaric nature. Bigfoot theories and memes everyone, D. Kidyer, they would find some similarities in terms of their way of living but somewhat a bit repulsed due to their carnivorous nature. Space chickens? Ongoy, this is the most interesting one because they're most sociable of all alien races. What is more surprising and shocking to them is their history of discrimination, acting as a cheap labor, slave race, cannon fodder and rebellions against their old covenant masters. Added with more surprise that they're the only race who can breathe methane and consider oxygen to be poisonous to their health. Space monkeys? Yenmi, unsettling due to them looking as giant space bugs or mosquitoes. Likgalo, the most unique due to their hive mind-like intelligence making up of many individual worms. Huragok, space biocomputers, because people don't have to worry about broken gadgets anymore. Broken gadget? No problem. Huragok's gonna fix it for you. Sanshyam, I don't really know about this one so I think it's up to you on how to make it believable and possible. Beijing, China. Would you look at that, not only the available resources, but the existence of aliens. Look at their technology. China needs it more than anyone else in the world, the Chinese president said. I agree, one of his guards said. We really need to keep friendly ties with the Japanese. The Chinese president said we need some of those UNSC technology or those alien technologies. Mr. President, may I ask why you want some of those technology? To show the world we are the superior ones, and they should fear us. Washington, D.C. I'm telling you we should send some of our troops that are stationed at Okinawa. If we are going to meet with these UNSC people. Besides, we have aliens. It would be a risk still, Mr. President. This could anger the Japanese government. We should negotiate with the Japanese first. Dirrell then continued to watch the recorded events happening in the diet session. Mr. President, great news. One of the leaders of the UNSC is willing to talk with us. Dirrell was surprised to hear that statement. The UNSC is coming to visit the United States. That escalated quickly. Are they going to bring some aliens as well? Yes, sir, they are bringing one of Sangheili representatives named Ratasvatam. Very well, when will they be arriving? Tomorrow. Dirrell smiled with satisfaction. We shall meet here. Yes, Mr. President. Us Congress. Congress was in session debating about meeting with the UNSC and the aliens. Some said they don't want to and some said they should. I don't think we are ready to speak with them, the senator from Montana said. I think we should because it would be an exciting thing. Meeting extraterrestrials will probably begin a new era for our humanity, the senator of New York said. The debate took about 2 hours, until they finally voted that they will allow the aliens to come visit the United States and began the talks of simple trade like some of the sanshium alcohol, and some of the tobacco they have. They also agreed to talk about some of the foreign herbs they can use to make new medicine and such. After that they also discuss how could a one-world government could happen without forcing every nation in the world. For the Japanese government it was a troubling situation, seeing that the UN and NATO now might have reasons to come to the other side of the gate. For the Japanese, it was a huge dispute. Prime Minister Motoi Shinzo was listening to the arguments within the Diet session. There were constant arguing about what they are going to face. Alternate humanity, now aliens. Mr. Prime Minister, I'm pretty sure that the special region is part of Japan, not the UN nor the United States. I'm aware of that, but we should take the advantage of them bringing some of their tech to us first. Sir, I doubt that. I doubt they will give us some of their tech. Just think about it, would we give Satara some of our technology? Well, that's different. They are living in a primitive lifestyle without technology. Some of the Diet members shook their heads. Knowing if they got some of these technologies, the world turned their backs against each other. UNSC outpost. Flashback before the Diet session. John and Halsey returned back to base with Alato and Judgment. As they arrived back they have encountered first recon team. So how was your journey to the Forerunner base? Josie asked. Interesting, we found more data about these precursors and in fact, Alato decided to come back to the outpost. Well, looks who decided to come back out of the shadows. Well, I can't just stay there forever. I haven't been outside for the last 100,000 years. True, and as well we can't reveal yourself to the other humans as well. We need to keep you classified. Alato knew about the other humans from the 21st century. Alato decided to put his affiliation with the UNSC. Chief, can you take Alato to Lord Hood, and maybe he can assign him to do something for the UNSC? Yes. Flashback end. Meanwhile, with the Famart natives back in Japan, some of the Sword of Sanghelius went back into incognito mode. The Arbiter decided to stay with the Famart natives to get to know them better and hopefully the Famarts would understand extraterrestrials. While some of the Sword of Sanghelius returned back to the outpost, the Arbiter and Ratas are the only ones in the 21st century Earth, as well as some of the other races. Tonight, Ratas will be heading over to the airport to meet with the US President, being escorted by some of the UNSC higher-ups. Meanwhile Jerome, and some of the Spartan IVs are using the invisibility cloak to keep an eye on Princess Peña, and as well as the Arbiter. The JSDF did negotiate with some of the Spartans and agreed to keep an eye on their guest, as well as the Arbiter. At first, the Famart natives were nervous meeting the Arbiter. As for Rory, she wasn't nervous at all. She actually was willing to talk to him. So that means they will be working together. Greetings Famart people, my name is Thelvadim and I am the leader of the Neo-Covenant Republic. He introduced himself. Nice to meet you Mr. Vadim. Call me Tuka the elf said. Yes call me Lele the mage said. I'm Rory Mercury. They all went back to Itami place so the press and the media won't have an idea where the aliens would be. Itami opened the door to his apartment and turned on the light. Food, I need food said a lady who is crawling over to him. Don't worry, I got you something he said as he put down the food. Itami them turned to the door and told everyone is it alright to come in. Everyone was looking at the lady the ground. Lieutenant, who is this? Tomita asked. Oh this is my ex-wife Risa Itami responded. Everyone except for the Arbiter was shocked to hear that Itami was once married. She's Yukurabayashi said as Tomita interrupted her. Ex-wife. Risa then looked up at the visitors. She had no idea who they were, but she knew who the reptilian humanoid was. Oh, is that the alien? She asked. Yes human, I am the alien he said. Hey, is marriage common in the human world? Arbiter asked. Oh yes, marriage plays an important role for our society Kurabayashi said. Is marriage not common where you are from? No, not really. The Famart natives were amazed with the room that Itami lives in. Lele was shocked to see books all over the room. Quiet books are rare within Satara. Peña and Bozes were looking at the art style, seeing how quiet amazed it looked. The Arbiter also looked at some of the manga. It was a sci-fi manga fighting alongside with other aliens. The Arbiter was listening to what Itami and Tomita were discussing on how they lost one of their guards. He then interrupted them. Sorry for interruption, but no need to worry, some of the Spartans are undercover and they are watching us in case. Really? That's amazing. Do you think we'll see them in action? Itami asked. Let's hope we don't, Arbiter said. Later Bozes and Peña began talking with the Arbiter. Though they were still nervous, he still wanted to try to get along with the Arbiter. The three were sitting at a table and began speaking. Your Highness, I would like to know more about your nation, Arbiter said. Right, so we are called the Saturn Empire. Rules all over the continent of Famert, but it's on the verge of collapse. I see. Let me ask you, why did your father decided to go to war with Japan without actually sending diplomats over? Well, he told us that he was sending a scouting team on the other side of the gate, then he did the same thing with the UNSC, but it resulted in an attack. Well, you better be glad it wasn't the old covenant, because if your empire attacked ours, then your world would have turned into hell. Bozes and Peña shivered at that statement. The two were hugging each other for comfort as the Arbiter chuckled. Sorry about that, but really I want to get to know your race better and your empire as well. So let's start anew, shall we? He asked as he reached out his hand. Sure, let's do that. Peña did the same thing as the two shook hands. The next morning everyone woke up to a bright sunny day. Since they were in Tokyo, they might as well go shopping. Peña and Bozes would want to go to the library to find more of the slice of life manga, while Risa's team go clothes shopping. Itami went to Akihabara to get more anime stuff. As for the Arbiter, he decided to join Tomita. He wants to read some of the world history of Earth and its former nations. For the Arbiter, he must stay invisible so he wouldn't cause panic of such. As Tomita's team reached the library, the Arbiter immediately headed over to find the history books, while Peña and Bozes were amazed on how much books were seen all over the shelves. Arbiter began reading the history of the samurai. Since his culture is similar to the samurai, he then sat in an isolated area where no one would find him except for Tomita. As the Arbiter progressively continues to read, he was fascinated with the samurai philosophy. They had a set or moral codes, the skills in combat, loyalty to master and family, and views on death. They also have a set of systems on how to die honorably. The Arbiter is a similar title to the Shogun. These Japanese humans are so interesting. They show more honor and such than anyone on the UNSC. After their trip to the library, the Arbiter spoke up to Tomita. Human, there is some place I would like to go, he said. Where is that? He asked. Take me to your samurais. Wait, what? Tomita said. Human, I wish to take me to your best samurai in Tokyo. Huh. You know what I mean, the Arbiter said. I wish to see your best samurai. Tomita was confused. He thought the Arbiter knew that samurais went out of existence 200 years ago. He began to scratch his head. Well, I don't know how to tell you this, but the samurais are long gone. Please, human, I wish to speak with one of your greatest samurais, the Arbiter asked again. Well, my descendants are samurai warriors, but I am no samurai. But my uncle has mastered the samurai warriors. I can try calling him to see if he is available. Thank you, human, Arbiter said. Tomita called his uncle through his phone. Tomita's uncle was at his home cooking sukiyaki for dinner for his relatives. Then the phone rang. He then answered it and put it in his ear. Hello. Uncle, it's me, Akira. My nephew, how are you today? It's good. I was wondering if I could stop by. I have a friend here is interested in samurai. Oh, not a problem. I'm making sukiyaki for dinner. Why don't you drop on by? Sure, uncle, I'll see you then. Okay, bye. The two hung up their phones. Tomita put his phone into his pocket and turned to the Arbiter. Good news, Mr. Vadam. My uncle is willing to speak with you about the samurai. That's wonderful news, Arbiter said. Shall we head over there now? Sure. Tomita's team then heads to the direction of Tomita's uncle's house. It was about 7 miles ahead from their location. After reaching 7 miles, Tomita arrived at his uncle's house. He then rang the doorbell. His uncle answered the door. His uncle is named Jiro. Akira, I'm so glad to see you, Uncle Jiro said. Uncle Jiro, I'm glad to see you. Say, do you know about the aliens at the diet session? Why, yes. Why, you asked? Well, Tomita revealed the Arbiter to his uncle, Uncle Jiro. This is the Arbiter known as Thelvadam, the leader of the Neo-Covenant Republic. This is Princess Peña and Bozes. They are from the other side of the gate. His uncle was shocked and stunned to see the alien coming to his house. He was at least 8 feet tall. Never thought in his life that aliens would come to his home, nor the visitors from the other world. Greetings, Jiro. I am Thelvadam. I am Jiro Tomita. Why don't you come in and we'll give you something to drink? That would be nice. Later. After some introductions, Jiro served some green tea to everyone. Jiro sat down next to his nephew. So Akira, what brings you here today? Well, actually it's my alien friend who is interested. Jiro turned to the Arbiter who was listening to him. So what brings you here to my house? I heard that you have mastered the samurai, am I correct? The Arbiter asked. Correct, my ancestors were samurai warriors for many generations. Then I challenge you to a spar Japanese human. Tomita, Pena, and Boses were shocked on what the Arbiter said. The Arbiter challenged a man who mastered the samurai. Arbiter, why would you ask my uncle to do that? Tomita asked. Now Akira, I'm pretty sure he has done his homework and such, but I will challenge you. May I ask why? I heard the samurai are really brave and honorable warriors. I would like to see that with my own eyes. Jiro nodded in approval. Outside. The Arbiter was given a kendo stick to fight with Tomita's uncle. The fight begins. Arbiter let out a war cry, then charged at Jiro. Jiro parries the Arbiter's weapon. The two continue on to press attacks against each other. The two swung each other's weapons at each other. Jiro went on to offensive, but the Arbiter dodged and blocked every attack with ease despite his size. Akira, Boses and Pena were watching carefully on how these two fight. The battle was fierce and it lasted for 10 minutes. The winner was the Arbiter, who then let out a victory growl. You have human skills. You are a true warrior like what they say in the history books. A true warrior worthy to fight. In fact, you might be able to beat me in the next round, Arbiter said. Would you like another round? He asked. Certainly, human. Eventually the Arbiter and Jiro went up for 3 rounds. As for Akira, Pena, and Boses, it felt like it went on forever. After the 3 rounds are over, Tomita and the rest have to leave because of JSDF duties. More like an excuse on why they are leaving. Tomita's group met back at the Shinjuku station. Once again, the Arbiter must stay invisible so he wouldn't cause a lot of attention. Apparently everyone overshopped and spent lots of money. Lelei got lots of books to read, Tuka got a traveling bag, and Rory just got a professional tailor. No luck for Boses and Pena, due to the fact they were hoping to find some manga on their way. The Arbiter was also lucky due to the fact he has faced someone who has mastered the samurai. On their way back meeting Itami, Jiro gave the Arbiter some history books about the samurai and some famous samurai warriors in the past. Tomita was holding the bags that contain the books. Clearly they don't want to see a floating bag in midair. So let's head over to the hot spring, Everyone cheered including the Arbiter. Just to refresh your memory, the Arbiter wishes to be watched over in case some nations like China or the US tries to take the Arbiter and put him up for studying. Clearly that would cause a war between the two sides. So the UNSC decided to hire some Spartans over to watch over him. 2 Spartan IVs, 1 Spartan 3, and a 2. The UNSC and JSDF negotiated again to work together to watch over their newfound friends from Satara and the Covenant. Some of the UNSC officials arrived at the Ministry of Defense to watch over the Spartans. As one of the UNSC officials came in the computer room, they all greeted them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is General Hansel and his team of the UNSC. The Minister of Defense named Taro Kano introduced to everyone. Greetings, I am General Hansel of the UNSC, he said as his team walked in. General Hansel and his team began sitting down. They were now doing a communication test on the Spartans while the JSDF did theirs. The temporarily team is called the Special Forces. The Special Forces were in Hakone Forest with some of the JSDF team hidden as well. They were on the other side of their location. Special Force, this is General Hansel, do you read me? Yes sir, I read you, Jun said. Copy that as well, one of the Spartan IVs named Sachiko said. I hear you General, the other Spartan IV named Joe. I have you on my mark, Jerome said. Alright team, the Arbiter and his newfound friends are heading over to the hot springs. I want you to keep an eye on them as much as possible. We don't want our Arbiter friend to get captured by any foreign invaders. You guys are going to be the last line of defense. Yes sir, they said in Unsaiyan. Good, now I want Jerome to head over to Alpha and go into defensive mode. Sachiko, I need you over by one of those trees. Taro couldn't believe it. He was sitting next to humans that have fought against aliens before. Him being an otaku himself, he always thought the likes of them only exist in manga and anime, but not right before their eyes. They are witness to real-life sci-fi super soldiers. The next thing they saw was Itami's group with the Arbiter revealing himself in the back. Arbiter, do you read me? This is General Hansel. Yes, I read you, human. Good, that was a test. Just wanna make sure. Get any information from the princess about the Empire. 1940. In the evening, everyone began settling in. They all changed out of their clothes to use the hot springs. For the Arbiter it would be heaven, because he hasn't gone to any hot springs for a long time. The females were changing out of their clothes when Rory felt a sudden, like the feeling they are being watched. Kurabayashi is accusing Itami for his perverted peeping. Little did they know they were actually carefully being watched by the JSDF and the UNSC. Hansel, this is Jerome. I have the Arbiter on site. What is he doing? Hansel asked. It appears he's taking a bath. All right, just keep an eye on him. Roger that. Men's bath. Tomita and Itami were enjoying their baths, alongside the Arbiter sitting on the other side of the bath. Tomita and Itami now has the chance to ask questions to the Arbiter. Mostly Itami. So why did you decided to tag along with us? Itami asked. Well, I want Princess Peña to be comfortable having aliens like me present when they meet with the UNSC government. That's true. The other gate that was opened and led to another universe where humanity achieved space travel. Tomita said. Another one. May I ask how old are you? So I have a question. What was life like in the Covenant? Itami asked. Vadim told his life during his time in the Covenant. He also told him he was a noble of the Vadim family. But his noble title is no longer valid due to the reformation of the Covenant Republic. He also told some tales and urban legends within the Covenant. The Arbiter told them about other stuff like how the Covenant was formed and how did they make contact with the prophets. They were shocked to hear that the Covenant existed for over 3,400 years. In accordance with the UNSC calendar, they have existed since the year 852 BCE. For the 21st century, it was about 2,800 years. Itami asked himself, could there be a covenant like them out in the vast galaxy? Hopefully they won't attack humanity. Itami also asked about the gods they worship. The gods we worshipped, well, if we tell you, you promise not to tell anyone about it. Just keep between me and yourselves, got it? Our lips are sealed, Tomita said. All right, so we worship an ancient alien race called the Forerunners and their technology. For Itami and Tomita it was strange worshipping aliens and their tech. Why would you worship these ancient races and their technology? We believed these gods gave us this technology to go out in the vast galaxy to convert the false idols and gods to the real and truthful religion. Then there was this thing called the Great Journey. What's the Great Journey? Itami asked. The central goal of the Covenant. According to legend, the Forerunners initiated the first Great Journey by activating the 7 halos which unleashed a divine wind, and elevated the Forerunners to godhood. Our prophets promised us everlasting life, and salvation. That sounds something good. Yes, but it was until I learned a terrible truth. The 7 halos were not a divine wind, but a weapon to destroy all life possible in the galaxy. If they were fired during the war against the humans, then the galaxy itself would be an uninhabitable place. Itami and Tomita were fascinated with this story, but why did these Forerunners fire these halos in the first place? The Arbiter then goes on telling them about the flood and such, which gave Itami and Tomita a concerned look. Arbiter told them they were a space parasite that eats all living things. Now that is terrifying. It gave the 2 men chills. Women bath. As the 3 male continued on with the story, the female began gossiping and such. Kurabayashi and Peña teased Bozes about her liking Tomita. After that they started talking about the Arbiter. So how do you guys feel about the Arbiter? For me it's pretty exciting. Risa said. I've met an alien, a real-life alien. For me it's exciting as well. I never thought in my life I ever thought I would get to meet a real-life alien. At first glance they look like demons and I thought they were going to eat us, but he isn't that bad, Peña said. Me as well. Bozes said he only tagged along because he wanted to know us better, and feel comfortable around these aliens. So one day Peña might have to go to the other gate and meet with the UNSC government. That's true, Rory said. So Kurabayashi, how do you feel about these Spartan warriors? Peña asked. You kidding me? They look so badass. I saw them in combat when they were fighting against the flame dragon. I heard they were hyperlethal, meaning they seem to be very strong in combat. Especially this Master Chief guy. All of the UNSC survivors are alive because of the chief. Man, I wish I was a Spartan. Little did she know that people like John, Jerome and June were actually children who were abducted from their families and put into hardship training. I can tell they have strong warriors, and if they can defeat a flame dragon, then the Empire would be really in trouble if we continue to go to war with the UNSC, Peña said as she got the shivers. She also imagined the UNSC using this glassing technology on the Empire, resulting in the deaths of many. I always wonder, will humanity of this world ever colonize space like the UNSC did? Risa asked herself. Unlikely on today's terms, Kurabayashi responded. They got some technology that is way advanced. Unlike the Empire and us, they are like the Megalodon, Japan is like the Great White Shark, and the Empire is just a mere trout. Kurabayashi was being metamorphic, saying that the UNSC is more powerful than the JSDF, leaving the Empire the weakest nation. 2340. Everyone has drifted off to sleep except for Itami and the Arbiter. Most of them were passed out drunk, while the Special Forces team were still keeping an eye on them. A van has parked outside of the hot springs. It was revealed to be a team of Americans who wanted to get their hands on the Saturn troops and the alien. They were carrying silencer rifles. Their faces were covered up except their eyes and head over to the hot springs. The Arbiter was still up reading the samurai history books. He was fascinated with all the powerful samurai that existed at least 400 years plus. He was mainly fascinated with Tokugawa Ieyasu, who united Japan as one nation, similar to one of the past Arbiters who united the whole race when the Sanshyouim arrived at their planet. Itami found the Arbiter in the room. He wanted to check on him to see if he was doing all right. Arbiter, you're not going to sleep. No human, we sleep whenever we want to. Right now I am fascinated with your samurais, they showed so much honor. In fact, one of them performed this suicide ritual called seppuku. Just like the Sangheili, we have to perform a death benediction to show honor to our family again. Well, looks like you do have something in common with the Japanese, he said. Surely you Japanese humans have a unique history. The Spartans were still keeping an eye on the Famert natives and the Arbiter. They noticed that some of the JSDF people are withdrawing. At first they thought they were moving, but General Hansel told them that the US president was blackmailing them so they can have the Famert natives and the Arbiter himself. Well, that ain't going to happen with the UNSC. President Dirrell has no information about the UNSC, only knows of their existence. As the Americans got a bit closer to the hot springs, the Arbiter sensed something outside. What is it, Arbiter, he asked. I sense trouble outside. I need all of you to hide. Ah, yes sir. Itami rushed over to the other rooms. As they got closer, a voice could be heard in front of them. Halt. Then the Americans looked around with their rifles trying to find the sources of the sounds. Show yourself, one of them said. 4 Spartans revealed themselves in front of them, making the American Spec Ops team had their mouths dropped. You are trespassing property. I advise you to turn back and leave, Sachiko said. We're on a mission here, and it happens that you are on our way. Shots were fired. The Spartans were hiding behind some rocks as they continued to fire. For the Spartans, they were being taken down quickly. As for the Americans, it was very hard to kill these Spartans. Little did they know they were hyper-lethal, and the armor had an energy shield so no damage can be taken. The Arbiter then slid the door open. Later the Chinese Spec Ops arrived, only to be terrified of the appearance of the Arbiter, but they didn't want to run away from them. They must continue to fire. Die you damn alien, the ringleader said as he fired his pistol at the alien, but no effect was taken. You humans are weak. Weak and undisciplined, he said as he kicked the American ringleader with his giant foot. Sir, the mission failed, one of the other guys told the actual leader. What happened? Did the Japanese attack you? No sir, there is a demon. It's holding an energy sword. Behind them were armored people. They have weapons, unlike our military have. The Arbiter let out a cry as he stabbed him with his energy sword. In the hot springs, everyone was on the ground hoping not to get shot by the intruders. Little did they know they were being protected by the Arbiter and the Spartans. Rory on the other was on the ground having a massive tantrum. She wanted to go out and kill, but they were being compromised by the Spartans and the Arbiter. Fight keeps continue on until the Ministry of State Security arrived facing the Spartans and Arbiter. Who are we facing? I have no idea, but judging by the weapons, they look pretty advanced than the US has. Clearly the United States doesn't have this kind of weapon, they said as the sounds of the UNSC weapons firing. Then the weapons stopped firing. The MSs took a look at what they were doing, only to find the Arbiter standing in the middle with the Spartans walking on opposite sides. The Arbiter then picked up the leader of the Spec Ops and growled at him. No disciplined human, no honor, he said as he threw him to a tree. Weak and undisciplined. The ringleader was terrified of the appearance of the Arbiter. He then took out his energy sword, realizing these were the aliens of the other side of the gate. As he was going to report this to the president, it was too late. The Arbiter stabbed him with his energy sword. That might cause a political eruption, Jun said. A266, this is General Hansel. I need you to get everyone out of there immediately. Right away. The Spartans entered the hot springs where everyone was hiding from. They were going to go into action until they saw the sight of the Arbiter and the Spartans. We are the special force of the UNSC, we need to get you out of here, Jun said. It's the Spartans, Kurabayashi said as she was fascinated with them. Our vehicle is in the entrance. Get dressed and head over there, Sachiko said. As everyone got into their street clothes, they all rushed to the transport Warthog. Everyone got on and they drove off. Kurabayashi was sitting next to Jun. Itami was sitting in the passenger seat of the Warthog. He was amazed that he is driving on a 26th century vehicle. So what is this thing running on? Water. What? You mean you were able to make water as a viable fuel? That's amazing, Itami said. Yeah, in the back area those are water tanks, Jerome said. So where are we going? Peña asked. Well, we are not in a good situation right now. We will wait till morning and then we'll head back to the gate, Jerome said. Good idea. I feel like there are assassins all over the gate area, Kurabayashi said. Gate 0900. In the gate area there were a lot of people crowding the area. Peña and Bozes were shocked that there were so many people crowded in one area. Itami summoned all of them because he told social media that the alien is coming to the gate area. As a result, over 100 people showed up just to see the gate. The Arbiter went outside to stretch his arms. This time he wasn't invisible. After that he went up to a random Japanese college student. Excuse me human, do you know where the gate is? He asked. Oh my goodness, it's the alien, he said. Everyone was giving him space as everyone took out their cameras to record the alien. The alien looked around as others got out to walk over the gate. Media helicopters got this on camera. They got footage of Itami's team, as well as the special forces. Mainly the Arbiter. Everyone has witnessed the events of the Arbiter making an appearance. After that everyone cheered at them. Back at the special region. Everyone returned back at the special region. Everyone settled into their bunkers. The Arbiter returned back to the UNSC outpost. Princess Peña and Bozes were back at their bunker. She was writing the whole events that happened in Japan. The other side of the gate is so overwhelming. If this war continues, it would be a major setback. No, the destruction of the empire. If the UNSC were 10 times stronger, then it would be the end of the world. They have this glassing technology can destroy worlds. Princess, are you going to the other gate? I have to go to Bozes. After I make peace with Japan, I must make peace with the UNSC. We must begin negotiations as soon as possible. Now I have two missions, is to put an end to these two wars. Ratas Vadim is going to America to speak with the president about the trading agreements. Ratas has experienced politics in his life, but he wasn't a politician. He was more experienced in economics and business. He was in the Tokyo International Airport. There, he saw that he was going to be escorted to America by a pelican, alongside with two Spartan IVs named Steve and Jessica. Greetings Ratas, how is your day? Steve asked. It is good human, shall we head over? Ratas asked. Certainly, Jessica said as the three got on board the pelican. Then the pelican began ascending into the air as it began to head out to the Pacific Ocean. Ratas was sitting down patiently waiting to head over to the North American continent. Pilot, how long will it take us to head over to the United States? About 4 hours. Thank you. As 4 hours has passed, the U.S. Air Traffic Controls gets in contact with the Pelican that is arriving at Washington, D.C. This is Captain Maria of the UNSC Pelican, requesting to land. You are clear to land, the ADC said. The Pelican then landed at Dulles International Airport. As the Pelican landed, Ratas and the Spartan IVs went outside only to be greeted by a bunch of people. In front of them is President Dirrell. There were banners that said Welcome to America. Welcome to America. My name is President Dirrell. I am the leader of the United States of America. I am Ratas Vadim, second in command of the Neo-Covenant Republic, and these two are my bodyguards, Steve and Jessica. How are you, Mr. President? Steve and Jessica asked. I am good. Well, shall we head on over to my Oval Office and we can begin negotiations on our trading system? Right away, human, Ratas said as he followed the president alongside the Spartans behind them. Ratas entered the presidential limo with the two Spartans entering next. In the limo was the president, the Secretary of Defense, and CIA agent Liam Person. Secretary of Defense Carl, he said as he shook hands with Ratas and the Spartans. I am CIA agent Liam Person. He also shook hands with Ratas and the Spartans. After introductions were made, the presidential limo headed straight to the White House. The limo then went on parked. The president, the Secretary of Defense, and the CIA agent went out first. Then Ratas and the Spartans came out next and followed the president to the stand where they will be facing the media and the press. All over the country, people were watching this live event. Americans were watching from California to New York, Washington State to Florida. They first played the national anthem of the United States. Then they played the national anthem of the Covenant Arise in Valor. Live chat. Welcome aliens to America. I wonder if they like hamburgers. Aliens from space. I wonder what they are going to negotiate about. I'm going to play Mass Effect later. After the national anthems were finished, then the president and Ratas walked onto a red carpet that led them to the inside of the White House. They entered and headed over to the Oval Office. The president sat down in his leather chair while Ratas sat across from him. The Spartan IVs were on his left and right flank. W. Heil, the secretary, and the CIA were on the president's side. So we are here to negotiate the trade deals, am I correct? Ratas asked. Certainly. I am so eager to taste your fine wines. Actually, I managed to bring a parting gift for you. Ratas reveals a wine case from his package. It was written in the Covenant standard language, but the humans from the 26th century managed to translate it. Gadomi's fresh wine off from the fields. Interesting, may I open up? Go ahead, Ratas said as the CIA agent carefully opened it in case it was an attack. After it was open, they can smell the fresh wine off from the bottle. Then a cup was given to the president. The wine was poured and showed a clear liquid wine, almost like water. They can also see small amounts of bubbles. Then the CIA agent drank it first in case it was poisonous. As the CIA agent drank it, he felt fine, but he felt ecstasy after drinking it. This is delicious, Liam said. Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, you must have a try. Then he was given 2 more cups. The wine was poured to the cup and they drank it. The president was amazed with this fine beverage. Ratas, your people make the finest wines. I think if we can negotiate longer, I think we could have a fair trade deal. I agree with you, Mr. President, Ratas said. He then showed other things like the tea, and some ancient weapons that the Sangheili used before joining the Covenant. After a 2-hours-long discussion and negotiations, the two shook hands. After that, the president offered lunch to Ratas and his bodyguards. Ratas was given things to try like pizza, hamburgers, barbecue steak, fresh vegetables, and the finest fruit. The Sangheili are known to be omnivorous, just like humans. Ratas took a bite of the steak. Ratas was amazed with the steak he was given. He also took a bite of the pizza. Though it was good, pizza never became his taste. For the hamburger, he enjoyed it, but he enjoyed the steak more. Then he tasted some of the fruits and vegetables. After that he was given some American wine, Cabernet Sauvignon. After that he was given desserts. First it was ice cream, which made her mouth go cold. Then he tried some of the pies like apple pies, Boston cream pie, and such. He then had some banana pudding. Future aka flash forward. Dirrell imagined the industries growing in the United States. He imagined the grocery stores all over the nation buying the Covenant wines, some of the teas, and the new spices that they were going to be given. This means, America's economy will increase a lot. America will be given a lot of money to invest on many things like technology, space travel possible, and such. End of flash forward. Now come, I want you to come outside of the White House. You are going to speak for the nation today. Me, Ratas asked. Of course, we are going to witness a new treaty. I call it the American Covenant Trade Agreement, Dirrell said. So I also want to make trade deals with the UNSC. That's going to be tough, Mr. President. The UNSC is a very powerful nation within the stars. They got more resources than we do. They surpassed the new Covenant Republic, Ratas stated. Well, I want to try, he said. Yeah, not to mention they are nowhere near the forerunners, Ratas muttered under his breath. Ratas and the president went outside of the balcony getting ready for a speech. In front of him was a bulletproof glass so no assassins will try to murder Ratas. But 21st century weapons will not work with Ratas since he had energy shields protecting him. Everyone was cheering as they saw the president. He then began his speech. Good afternoon, my faithful citizens of America. Today I have a special treat for you. Today I have bought one of the Sangheili representatives. His name is Ratas Vadam. He and I have a great talk about trade and fair deals. So right now you are about to witness a human and alien signing a fair trade deal. The media put the camera close to the president and the Sangheili. President Dirrell signed his name as the contract was opened up. Then Ratas was given a pen to sign and he signed in his native language. The president showed the contract to everyone, which made everyone cheered. Then Ratas and Dirrell shook hands while smiling at the press. Okay, I will now give the stand to Ratas. The president stepped back as Ratas got on the mic. He can see various people cheering for him. He also sees signs that say I 3 Sangheilis. Some signs say welcome to America, greetings from the USA, live long and prosper. Thank you, Mr. President. Today is a new era for the American people. We have signed a new treaty deal. We have made a fair trading deal, and hope this deal will work out. It's been a great pleasure talking with your wonderful president. Everyone was applauding at his short speech. After that he said his goodbyes and left the White House. Ratas was taken to a hidden shelter where he can sleep for the next couple nights. Jessica takes off her helmet and she is revealed to be of Filipino descent. Her last name is Gonzalez, and Steve is revealed to be Hungarian, meaning he is from Reach. That was some night, Steve said. I tell you, Ratas said, it's pretty exhausting. I'm going to head outside and get some fresh air. Will you be okay? Jessica asked. Positive, he said. He went outside to get fresh air. He was looking at the streets of Washington, D.C., seeing how humans lived before becoming a spacefaring civilizations. Then suddenly he heard a noise coming from an alleyway. So how much for the girl? She is about $1,500. Looks like you got yourself a deal. Ratas found out these humans were practicing trafficking. He sees a young female who is about in her 20s was all duct taped. She tried to scream, but no one couldn't hear her. Ratas has heard everything. Ratas went under camouflage and got closer to the two males. She's a fine young woman. She can be your play toy. Yeah, now let's get out of here before we get caught. Then as Tehi were about to leave, they bumped into something that felt like it was an invisible wall. The camouflage expired. The two men looked up as they described him as a tall reptilian-like creature. Puny human. Ratas grabbed them by their necks and smacked them to the brick wall. He then grabbed his energy sword and put it closer to their face. Listen to me. You better stop what you're doing or you're going to get chopped up with my mighty sword and I will eat your delicious flesh as it digests in my stomach, Ratas said as he made a quiet growling noise, which made the two traffickers shiver. Ratas then released the two men as they screamed on the top of their lungs and ran off. Ratas carefully untied the human lady. Are you okay, human? He asked. Thanks. Wait a minute, you are the alien that arrived. Yes, Ratas Vadam, the second in command of the Neo-Covenant Republic. My name is Johnson. Do you have a home? I can take you back there. Yes, it's actually not that far. I can take you there, he said. That's sweet of you. But will you get the center of attention? No problem, I can make myself invisible. Ratas goes undercover as he activated his camouflage. Charlotte was impressed with the way he was invisible after walking 2 miles away from the place where Ratas is staying. Charlotte was smiling at him. Go on, I'll be watching you, he said as Charlotte runs to her home. She rang her doorbell and her father opened it. Charlotte. Daddy, she said as they hugged each other. I was so worried about you. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're alive. Honey, tomorrow you need to tell us what happened. I will, she says as she turned around as she can see the tracks of the Sangheili leaving. Thanks, Ratas, she said under her mouth. Ratas then heads back to his room where Steve and Jessica were asleep on their beds. Ratas took his armor off and went off to bed to rest up for the night. After Peña returns back to Japan, she plans to go to the other gate in Dalnas Hill, but she must tell her father about her time in Japan first. Now she returns back to the imperial capital where she is greeted by her Rose Order Knights. Not only that, she came back with Koji Sugawara, the foreign minister of Japan, and the UNSC representative to Satara will be later known as the interplanetary minister of the UNSC. His name is Genesis Kodai, a Hungarian descent from planet Reach. Genesis is wearing a standard business outfit. They all got out of the carriages and were greeted by the Rose Order Knights. 3 sides are now preparing to hold negotiations. First things is to visit the UNSC gate, then to make peace with hopefully both Japan and the UNSC. Peace talks between the UNSC, Japan, and Satara begin with the release of a small amount of captives that are being held POW. To begin, they first had a nice dinner in the capital. Peña was wearing a red dress that gives her a goddess vibe. Wow, these foods are sure to fill me up. I hope I have room for dessert, Genesis. Oh, we sure do have dessert, she said, you might enjoy it. Then a middle-aged man appeared at the party. Peña said his name is Cicero La Moltos, a highly influential man, who gives out good speeches, wise, and the few who can be reasoned with. So I assume the Senate is really divided, Sugawara asked. Correct, there are pro-wars and anti-wars. The Senate is still thinking on what to do after recovering the military. But most of the senators are anti-war. Well, that's good. Surely the majority of people would most likely put an end to this war against the JSDF and the UNSC, Genesis said. Yes, but we need some way to convince the Hawks to change their minds, someone with power, Peña said, and I know just who. Later. Peña, Genesis and Sugawara have met with Lord Moltos. Since he's a man of influence and power, also very charismatic, they have chosen him to convince him to join the anti-war side. Lord Cicero, this is Japan's diplomatic envoy Mr. Sugawara, and this the UNSC's diplomat envoy, Mr. Kodai Peña, said Genesis' surname with a broken accent. Good try Peña, but it's Kodai. Hello Lord Ciro, I am Koji Sugawara. Greetings, I am Genesis Kodai. Japan? UNSC? Never heard of those places, but what kind of country is Japan in the UNSC? Cicero asked. Well, the weather's nice, the forest and water very beautiful. Well, for me, where I come from, the scenery is beautiful, filled with towering mountains, and clear waters. It's very green and such. It also has a strong aurora phenomenon. A strong aurora phenomenon? Well, looks like a place for the gods. Then later two men brought a cart, one filled with Japanese poetry, craftsmanship, and art, while the UNSC brought some goods, art, jewelry, and a picture frame of reach at its current state. It would be an honor if you accepted these parting gifts, Sugawara said. Cicero was odd as he saw these goodies. He first picked up a samurai sword. He was so amazed with all the craftsmanship that he was given. After observing the Japanese, he went on to observe the UNSC gifts. He picked up the picture frame. He saw the beautiful mountain scenery of reach. Genesis, is this where you from? He asked. Yes, Lord Cicero, that is where I am from. Well, not from the mountain, but where I live I can see the mountain. It's in great detail. I have never seen this kind of art before. I'll give you the details later. I must apologize for being rude, but both of your nations must possess excellent technology. But where is this Japan and the UNSC located? The other side of the gate in Alness Hill, Sugawara said. For me it's on the other side of gate number 2 at Dalness Hill, but there is a problem. You are at war with Japan and the UNSC. This shocked Lord Cicero. Hearing that they were at war with them was an actual issue. He then ordered everyone to leave them. We must discuss this in private, Cicero whispered, giving the two diplomats a satisfying look. In another room, the four began the talks about the captives that are in POW. Sugawara handed him a note about his nephew being alive. He was shocked. His nephew was not dead, but a prisoner of war. He is a prisoner of war. Prisoner of war. Correct, the princess is handling all the negotiation as possible, as well as some of the peace talks between Satara, Japan and the UNSC. You should be grateful that Peña came to Japan and handled all the negotiations. Later she will be going over to my world and have peace talks with my leaders, Genesis said. So I assume you want me to represent both of your interests, Cicero asked. No need to. The princess have volunteered to do so. Cicero looked at the princess as she spoke up. I'm interested for you to join us. I need to tell the good news about the Duchy family. I'm sure they will enjoy your company there. Cicero thought about it for a minute, until he gladly accepted. In exchange that he takes care of his nephew, and his life. Peña accepts it. In the JSDF outpost, the whole outpost was once a refugee camp, but became a trading place where merchants can come by and sell their goods. They also managed to build homes, motels, restaurants, inns, and much more. In addition, all of the refugees that were in the UNSC outpost, the JSDF negotiated with the UNSC about the transport of taking all of the refugees to the JSDF outpost. The UNSC accepted it and they were immediately transported to the JSDF outpost. Takumi, I'm going home, Irie said. I'm so glad you are going back. I guess this is where we say goodbye, Takumi said. I know I'm really going to miss you, Takumi. Me too, but maybe I'll visit the JSDF outpost. The UNSC and JSDF agreed not to kill each other and allowed us to go in the outpost with proper authorization though. Alright, but I gotta go. Your medicals are great. I can't wait to tell the good news about being STDs free for good. Bye Irie. Bye Takumi. As Irie exited Takumi's dorm, there were JSDF transport aircraft waiting for her to enter. As she entered, she sat down next to an elf. Mother, father, I am cured from STDs for good. These UNSC people have the cure of STDs, the common flu, HIV/AIDS, and even cancer. The UNSC outpost is not really meant for a refugee camp. That's more of the JSDF option. But hey, at least some of the UNSC military can visit there anytime they wish. Lord Hood's office. The special forces of the UNSC have returned. They are at Hood's office where they will present him about the attack on the hot springs in Japan. Lord Hoodjun saluted. Spartan, what brings you here today? I'm here to show you a recording of the events happened at Japan in the 21st century, Joe said. Show me, Hood said. Sachiko presented a holographic video of the events that took place in Hot Springs. He can see the Chinese and the Americans fighting against the Spartans. Why are they attacking you guys? Well, the US president was blackmailing the Japanese. So the JSDF withdrawal and we were the last line of defense. So we had to protect the Arbiter and the Famert natives. So as a result we had no choice but to take them down, Jun said. I can't believe this, isn't Ratas enough? The Covenant was very kind enough to send Ratas as a representative. Why would they need the Arbiter? We don't know, sir. I'm going to think about what I am supposed to do. All of you are dismissed. They all saluted. Alness Hill, JSDF outpost. In a hilly side of Alness Hill, a dark elf who is wearing cover-ups is looking at the JSDF outpost. The dark elf is named Yarodushi. Apparently the flame dragon attacked the Schwartz forest. One of the chief villagers of the forest requested Yao to go find the green ones and bring them here to help. So there are here, she said as she looked at the marvelous view of the JSDF base. She then proceeds heading over to the entrance. As she saw the green outfits, she had come to the right place. She was smiling like a child's face. She was relieved there is hope now for her forest, but little did she know that the flame dragon is dead and it was killed off by the UNSC. She then proceeds to the two JSDF soldiers who are guarding. Excuse me, gentlemen. I have a dire request to make. My people come from the Schwartz forest and I heard that your people have defeated a flame dragon. My name is Yarodushi, and I beg you please help my population, she said. The JSDF guards didn't quite understand what she said. So they tried speaking in their language with a broken accent and grammar. Then suddenly, one of the UNSC Marines came out of the JSDF outpost. It was Alex. Apparently he was visiting there to meet with an elf friend. No, not Tuka. She was also a dark elf. What's this, another dark elf? Ya then walked over to Alex. I am Yarodushi, and I need your help, she said. Help? What do you need help for? He asked. Ya was surprised to hear one of the green men, or she thought Alex was part of the JSDF and understood her language. You understand me? Ya, why? My name is Yarodushi. My people are from the Schwartz forest. Our race is on the verge of extinction. Please, I beg your warriors to come and defeat the flame dragon. Whoa, hold on there, Ya. No need to worry. The flame dragon is dead. We have its head in my base. You mean it's dead? Yeah, do you want proof? Yes, take me to this person who killed the flame dragon. I shall reward him or her with this. Ya revealed a giant diamond that was the size of a snowball. Alex was amazed by it, but he wasn't really a materialistic type of person. So instead she'll take him to Lord Hood. Ya followed him to the warthog. Alex, what is that metal beast? Oh, it's a warthog. You can say it's more like a horseless wagon. Interesting, she said as she got onto the passenger seat. The warthog engine started up and began moving. From Yao's perspective, this interesting contraction was different from the wagons she rode in before. This vehicle ride was very smooth, unlike the wagons she rode, and sometimes was rough, and the cushions were very soft and comfortable. Ya got a different vibe from Alex. He's different from many of the men who tried to take advantage of her or tried to catcall her. We'll take the shortcut to Dalness Hill. It will save us some time to get there, he said. Oh, okay, she said as the warthog continued to drive off into the distance. It then made a sharp left turn. The two arrived at Dalness Hill. Alex went through security, though he was questioned about why he has a dark elf. After giving the excuse, they let him in. He then took her straight to Lord Hood. Lord Hood. PVT. Alex, how are you today? I'm good. Who is this dark elf? He asked. Sir, my name is Yarodushi. I have heard that you defeated a flame dragon. I wish to know if this is true. Yes, it is true, he said. I want to see it with my own eyes. I want to see its head. Very well. Hangar 03. The head of the flame dragon was placed in one of the hangars of the outpost. Ya was shocked to see that the head of a flame dragon is actually dead. She was relieved. She can finally have peace again. Lord Hood, I want to know who has killed this flame dragon, Ya asked. That would be him. He initiated the attack on the flame dragon, Alex said as she turned her head towards Lord Hood. Sir Hood, you have my gratitude. Please accept this token of my thanks. She revealed the huge ball of diamond presented to Lord Hood. Thanks for the kind offer, but I won't be needing it, he said. Ya was shocked by what he just said. The men she usually goes up to would do anything to get a rare diamond like this. What, you need to accept it? No, can do. I only attacked the dragon because it was near my base and I ordered most of my troops to defeat that dragon. I will be presenting it and giving it to the Empire when the peace conference begins. Well, please accept as a gift from Schwartz Forest. Very well, Hood said. Thank you. I must know, who are you UNSC people? The United Nations Space Command, Alex said, but that's all I can say. Rest are classified. Ya nodded in understanding. I shall take my leave. Farewell UNSC people, she said as she exited the outpost and walked out of Dallas Hill. Time skip a couple weeks. For the past couple of weeks, the relationship between the UNSC and JSDF has gotten better. The two sides began to trust each other. As for Peña's visit, that is yet to come. Though she isn't ready to go to the other side of Dallas Hill, there are still things that yet to be done. Ratas also returned home after his second day in America. Now meeting the UNSC is going to be tough. President Dirrell received a message from the UNSC saying they have got video evidence of them trying to kidnap the Famart natives, and the Arbiter. President Dirrell was clearly overwhelmed by this. Then they threatened them to blockade trade deals between the Neo-Covenant and the USA. Clearly there won't be trading between the UNSC and the USA for a while. As for Japan, UNSC, and the Neo-Covenant might start to begin negotiations of trade deals like some of the herbs, spices, teas and the wines that were given, as well as the UNSC giving some simple medicine to cure diseases like the flu, HIV/AIDS, common cold, SARS, and many others. The world reacts to this marvelous event. People were cheering that the UNSC has medicine that can cure many things, as well as better energy efficiency. This new energy efficiency threatened many coal and oil industries. It will cause stocks to drop, and companies might have to change and switch to green energy. UNSC announced to the 21st century that they are using fusion power, which was a huge revelation to the 21st century humans. If they claim they have fusion power, scientists would want to meet the UNSC humans and figure out how they can make these fusion power. Opportunists were watching and considering their next moves. People of religion, business, politics, and even just plain curious people wanted to be part of the new interactions, especially making first contact with extraterrestrials. There were meetings in churches, politicians' offices, company boardrooms, studios, even over family dinner tables about what they wanted to do. Green energy institutes began investing their money to hopefully buy fusion power to keep the world clean and free from pollution. For the United States, they had a dispute over the hot springs incident, but the UNSC is going to find ways to give them a second chance. Japan is willing to give this fusion reactor a chance since they are the closest neighboring country. China, on the other hand, would want their hands on fusion power immediately, but the UNSC thinks that China is too overzealous, so they would want for them to wait. Nations like the EU, Russia, the United Kingdom, Canada, and some of the Latin countries are willing to be patient for these newly energy sources. Climate change activist from around the world praises these newly fusion reactors and these clean energy that the UNSC have. Now they push the United Nations to negotiate with their counterpart the United Nations Space Command to work out a deal on buying these fusion powers, medicines, new herbs for medicine and such. But there is no way that the UNSC will be given the 21st century humans their weapons. They will definitely not give them blueprints to slip space. Due to this, 21st century humans are not united under one banner. Updates on the riots. The riots all around the world are cooling down as they tried to understand the new faction that arrived at the gate, as well trying to understand to the newfound aliens. Though the first diplomat to the 21st century was Ratas, he wasn't an official. So the first Covenant diplomat to the 21st century is a Sangheili named Letndaden. He will be the official ambassador for Japan. Letndaden is in his 40s and has political experience. He was at the front entrance of the gate. The Prime Minister of Japan Motoi Shinzo was waiting at the front entrance of the gate. This was going to be a special day in Japan. Japanese citizens lined up to greet the official ambassador to Japan. "Welcome to Japan. I'm Prime Minister Motoi Shinzo," he said. "Greetings human, I am Letndaden. I am the ambassador of Japan of the Neo-Covenant." As introductions were finished, the two national anthems were played. After they were played, they were taken straight to the newly Covenant Embassy of Japan. It is located between the U.S. Embassy and the Swedish Embassy. As they arrived, Letndaden was amazed with the sight. Not only that, there were more people there than before to witness the first ambassador to step in the newly built embassy. "You people are truly honorable citizens." The Arbiter was right, Letndaden said. "I'm glad you like the embassy we gave you." In a random house, 5 female best friends were watching the events live on television. Witnessing the aliens coming and living in Japan. "Look at that, Azunayan-chan. Aliens, it's aliens." "Yes, I see that," Azusa said. "Scary aliens. Aliens going to eat me," Mio Akiyama said while she was shaken. Then from behind, Ritsu jump-scared Mio from behind, making Mio screamed in horror. "Aliens, aliens, they're going to eat me." That made Ritsu, Azusa, Yui, and Muji laugh. They were in the ground laughing at her reaction. Oh my goodness, you should have seen your face, Mio. It was priceless, Ritsu said while laughing. It was, she asked. Things are going to change in the 21st century of humanity. Ready or not, they are going to face a new reality and real changes in politics, power, and such. Hello everyone, I'm deeply sorry for not uploading, but I have been looking up for some interesting fun tricks, so I hope you guys can forgive. You expect new ones soon, but enjoy the ones that I am doing because I'm very busy. I'm deeply sorry, but I will give you a quick warning. They're all gonna be one partners for a bit because I am having a difficult time with my life, but you guys will have to give each one 50 likes just to get the next part.